To the North Shore Dance Society in Glencoe and the Dancers Book YouTube channel. My name is Aleksandar Bonev, and in today's video I'm going to talk about Samba. I'll be explaining the bounce action in Samba, as well as explaining some of the major figures that any Samba routine will consist of. So some of the major figures that I will try to cover today are botafogos, voltas, as well as walks, cruzado walks with locking action. Stay with me. Alright, my friends, the first thing that we need to do with our Samba actions is talk about the bounce in Samba. The bounce in Samba is extremely important because the dance consists of bounce action throughout. What I want you to do is I want you to put your feet together, naturally turned out, and slightly flex your knee. Now, Samba is one of the dances where if your knees are surpassing the toes is perfectly fine. That's in fact how it has to be. Now, talking about the posture before that, we want to make sure that the pelvis as itself is not pushed backwards, right? So you want to make sure that you tighten up everything and relax your knees, sink down. The feel that you have to have is that almost the entire time of your performance in Samba, that you're very much so grounded. Otherwise, your bounce will throw you off. Now, next thing that we'll try to do is to keep the long neck as well as shoulder pushed down. For the exercise purpose, my hands will remain in front. The center is well tucked in. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep the feet flat on the floor, and the only thing that I want you to do is to soften and then straighten. Soften and then straighten. I'm going to demonstrate the same thing from a different angle. I do understand that that's probably not the hardest thing that you have done in Samba. Now, what's very important, especially when your feet are turned out, is that this isn't happening, okay? So everything remains very much so compact. Your knees, technically speaking, are kind of overlapping, right? So they are remaining together. The inner thighs cannot simply open. And one more time from a different angle. Now, if you're trying to dance it with the actual speed of the music, this is going to be 1 end, 2 end, 3 end, 4 end, and repeat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 end, 2 end, 3 end, 4 end, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Next thing that we're going to do with our bounce action is we're going to start releasing the heels. This is the very next step of yours that you need to start achieving. I'll turn ultimately from a different angle. What I'm going to do is when I drop my knees down and in front, I'm also going to release the heels of the floor. Do you see how I'm going on the ball of the feet? And then when I'm straightening the knees, I'm going to place the heels down. And one more time, down, release, down, release, and from a different angle, down, release, down, release. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to release the heels of the floor and keep them off the floor throughout. Now, it will be extremely helpful for you if you have maybe a chair close by where you can ultimately hold yourself initially while you're getting the balance up and running. You can also keep one hand, for example, on the wall. And here's how that is going to work. Release the heels of the floor and keep them released. Release the feet of the floor and keep them released. That's it. Good. Now, Samba is one of the dances where sometimes the feet do come close together, or ultimately instead of keeping the natural V-shaped turn out, we may in fact simply close them. And it's also a good option for you trying out your bounce action. Okay, and from a different angle. or with placing the heels on the floor, bow to flat, and bow to flat. Very good. So this was the bounce action. Make sure that you're very, very steady when practicing your bounce action. Do your best to practice it rather slow, just so you gain the correct muscle memory. Alright guys, the next thing that we're going to do is the whisk action, okay? I'm going to do it with my back turned towards the camera, and very slowly, first we're going to drop, and when start releasing, I'm going to move to the right to a flat. When I do a flat here, I have this side, the opposite height, up. I'll do it one more time. Drop. When releasing, flat here, long. From here, I'm going to rise up while bringing the feet together. Very close, okay? As soon as I cross from behind, I'm going to drop on the front foot of mine, keeping that V-shaped, okay? And I'll demonstrate one more time. And step and release. As you can see, everything remains very well tucked in, okay? Everything remains compact. Now, same action repeats. Obviously, the opposite side has to be raised up. Foot pressure on the ball of the foot here. Releasing, dropping. Once again, drop, 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 drop. From a different angle, drop, release, flat, picking up, flat, release, flat, release, drop. And as you can see, the entire bounce action happens pretty much throughout, okay? Now, when going side to side, we always have to elevate the opposite hip. So with that being said, if I'm going to my right side, this hip needs to be lifted, right? This is going to release the foot off the floor and help me finish with my action. And then from here, I'm going to go to the other side. I'll lift up, releasing that side of the hip, bringing it in and dropping. When I drop, I always lock the knees. So you want to make sure that this remains extremely well together. Now, when dancing my whisk, I want to make sure that my feet are remaining on the floor. So with that being said, I'll try to do it from a different angle. Even when going to the side, I'm not lifting to place my foot. Instead, what I should do is slide the foot to the side, right? So with that being said, I'm sliding it on the ball of the foot and quickly arriving to a flat, versus releasing the foot to place it. When dancing Samba, you want to make sure the feet remain on the floor throughout. Alright guys, the next thing that we're going to do are the cruzado walks with locking action. We're going to do 2 walks and then we're going to do the triple locking action. So for the exercise, I'll have my right foot free, and I do have to have elevation to a drop, elevation to a drop, and now I'll have the locking action, flat, ball, flat, and I will repeat forward, forward, flat, ball, flat. Okay, from a slightly different angle. You can always start with the other foot free. It won't really make much difference. We go lift to release, flat, 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 lock, flat, 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 lock, flat. All right, now, when you're dancing your walks with the locks, Feel free to curve if needed, right? Be careful with your posture. Don't over tilt forward. Okay, so be careful with that so-called forward pitch. Don't overdo it. Keep your balance pretty much in the middle. Okay, well split it. When striking forward, I strongly recommend you're using flat foot, okay? The foot always rolls from a ball to a flat. So we're not trying to bang on that flat, okay? So while the foot is in transition, it always goes ball to flat, okay? What I don't want you to do is trying to arrive to a ball, keeping it ball, even when locking. When locking, the second step of yours has to be above the foot. The first action is flat. Demonstrating it one more time, a bit slower. Rising up, flat. Rising up, flat. Rising up, flat. Ball, flat. Rising up, flat. Rising up, flat. Ball flat, ball flat, and so forth. All right, guys, so far what we have done, we've done the bounce action, different ways of doing it, making sure that you understand how the knees are remaining slightly in front, how you have to keep your balance in. We talked about posture. We talked about whisk and the forward cruzado walks with locking action, okay? Before I continue with the actual botafogo and voltas, those are the two figures that we have left so far, I would like to remind you to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button after you watch the video, and hit the like, the thumbs up if you think that the video is worth doing so. Okay. Next two figures. So we're going to talk about voltas and botafogos. I'm going to start with the botafogo. So botafogo typically is being danced in a promenade direction, in a promenade position most of the time. Okay, there's exceptions. Now, when dancing it, I want you to think of starting with the right foot forward. We're going to do elevation to a flat. Now, here's where you have to be extremely careful. When bringing the foot in, you have an elongated side, okay? I'll do it one more time. This is where you have to elongate before place to a flat, to a ball flat. Okay, I'll do it one more time. We have in, step, and step. From here we cross. Now, when you're crossing, you want to make sure that you cross tight, and then you go elongated to replacement. So if doing it a bit faster, boom, a boom, boom, a boom, boom, a boom. Okay? Now, your side action is always flat, okay? When you're pointing the foot to elongate one side or the other, left or right, you want to make sure that you do it from the ball of the foot. Okay, so we put a partial weight there. We do not fully arrive on the foot. A common mistake is dancer would go from one foot to the other, trying to change again, which would be incorrect. Dancing again, a bit slower. Don't forget the bounce right here. In between, step forward. From here, bring the inner thighs together before elongating the side. Now, when elongating the side, make sure that you remain partially towards the right of yours, and then replace. From here, cross, obviously very much so compact, to a flat. In, elongate, to replace. In, elongate, to replace. In, elongate, to replace, and so forth. Let's do it from a different angle. And we go. Whoop, chick, chick. Whoop, chick, chick. Whoop, check, check, whoop, check, check. All right, my friends, last figure, Voltas. You can do Voltas to the left, you can do Voltas to the right. As a matter of fact, in the next video of mine, I'm going to do a Samba exercise routine that you can practice the major figures with. Okay, in any case, the Voltas, let's start on, for example, the right foot. The Volta action is the actual cross right in front. There's, of course, elevation, and we cross right in front. Everything needs to be very compact. From here, after we drop, we create space, we step, and we cross again. And we cross again, and we cross again, and so forth. Okay? Now, this is a turning Volta. The way that I'm dancing it, this is a turning action. Okay? You can do it in a straight line as well, as an example. And compression, and compression, and compression, and compression. Okay, different way. Step across, elevate to drop, elevate to drop, elevate to drop. If you wish to do it to the left, it obviously works the very same way. I'll do it this way. We go left, rise up to drop, left to drop, left to drop. My friends, I'm done for today. Enough is enough. If you have any questions or any comments, please make sure that you leave them under the video in the comment section. Thank you for being with me today. Stay tuned for more videos and make sure that you share those with your friends. Goodbye for now.